The vivo X300 Pro is one of the best camera phones I've ever tested, especially because the telephoto sensor is large and the Zeiss's high-quality coating and color science make the phone extra special. It also comes with a much larger battery capacity than major flagship phones from Samsung, Google, and Apple. But is it really that much better than the most popular Android flagship phone, the Galaxy S25 Ultra? Well, it depends on how you look at things. At least for the display, it is not easy to say Vivo has an edge over Galaxy. The Galaxy screen is slightly larger at 6.9 inches instead of 6.7 inches on the Vivo. Also, the Galaxy has an anti-reflective display, which is super cool for using the phone outdoors and increases visibility even at the same brightness level. For the main lens, at least on paper, they have very similar specs when it comes to sensor size and aperture. But of course, the pictures coming out of them are different. The Vivo is slightly more vivid even in Zeiss's natural mode, while the Galaxy has this haze on the photo. In a lot of situations, the photos are very similar to each other and it is difficult to differentiate. For video, they both support 4K 120 frames per second, plus they support log and all the fancy features you can find on phones these days. The Vivo is a bit on the warmer side of processing. But to find the main difference, you have to start looking at the telephoto camera. The Vivo on paper has one less camera with a lower focal length, but in practice, what is more important is that it comes with a larger sensor and better lens quality. In practice, what this means is that you get more natural background blur. This means when you are taking portrait shots, the Vivo photo looks like it is coming out of a real camera and not a phone. Also, the photos in my opinion have more of a nice soft touch on them, in contrast to the Galaxy photos that are often over-sharpened. Of course, you can use the portrait mode on both phones to give even more bokeh, and they both do a fine job at it. If you go further zooms, Vivo also does a better job. It not only captures more details because the larger sensor can gather more light and therefore more information, but they also use AI more to process the photos even at very long zoom levels, so the photo has a nice look. I am almost certain we'll see the same kind of processing on the Galaxy phones this year. For videos with the telephoto camera though, it is closer even though I can see Vivo is slightly sharper, the difference is not huge. The other thing you can do better with Vivo is capturing telephoto macro shots. You can do the same with Galaxy, but usually the result is not as great as Vivo. The ultra-wide lens on the phones is also close both in terms of specs and the results, as you can see here. The selfies on the Vivo is also simply better. It has a better camera, a much wider focal length, which means you can fit more into the frame, and I really hope Galaxy upgrades the selfie camera next year because they currently have one of the worst selfie cameras on any flagship phone. The other thing I really hope Galaxy fixes is the night photos. With the main lens, the Vivo has better processing and Galaxy is really missing the mark here. Also, Galaxy very often suffers from motion blur, and if your subject moves even slightly, the pictures is going to turn out blurry in low light. The same goes for night photos with the telephoto lens, where naturally, the Vivo is doing better processing compared to the Galaxy because of a larger sensor. For videos at night though, aside from color science, I don't see much difference between the two with the main lens. But camera is not everything. I generally prefer Galaxy's One UI over Origin OS because it has more authenticity. Origin OS looks way too similar to iOS. For performance, the Vivo is running on the Dimensity 9500, while Galaxy is sporting the Snapdragon 8 Elite. On Geekbench, the scores are very similar. Dimensity has a bit of an edge, but not enough to give a noticeable performance boost in day-to-day tasks. Even for gaming, they are close. On 3D Mark Wildlife Extreme, the Galaxy got around 40 frames per second, while the Vivo got 43 frames per second, and that's not a meaningful difference. For battery life, I did a day in the life battery test with everything you have seen in this video, plus playing YouTube for a few hours and 12 hours of standby on 5G. At the end, the Galaxy had 12% left, while the Vivo was at 39%. This is the Chinese version that I bought from Trading Shenzhen, and I'll put the link in the description. Just know that the EU version of the Vivo has a lower battery capacity. Also, The Galaxy in this video is not my personal phone, so the battery is not degraded. There is also a physical difference between the two. The Vivo has a larger camera bump. It has a dedicated action button, like the one you see on the iPhone and OnePlus. But Galaxy has something even better, and that's the S Pen, which I use daily. By the way, right now we are at 87k subscribers, and I really want to reach 100k by the end of the month. So please hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Overall, the Vivo is an amazing phone. It has a great camera, amazing processing, top-notch battery life, and the best performance you can get. But that's not always means you have to buy the best in the market, because there are other factors like software support, brand association, and trade-in value. And even though the S25 Ultra is an inferior phone when it comes to hardware, it is still a phone that probably most people prefer, and that's why it is voted as the phone of the year by you. Another great phone is the iPhone 17 Pro Max, and if you want to see how the vivo X300 Pro compares to the iPhone 17 Pro Max, watch this video next. Thanks for tuning in to TechMo, and I will see you in the next one.